Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of TFT Study Hall with your hosts, Frodan.
And Dishsoap.
And it's our first episode of Set 13 Into The Arcane. And my God, man, it actually, a lot has happened since our last episode. We were going to recap Set 12, but then we got hit with Dishsoap playing in World. And then immediately Set 13 PBE came out. And then we've had not one, but two patches since then. This is actually recorded right after the C patch has released. So we're going to give our first impressions based off what's happened so far, as well as what we think is going to happen. Before we do that, I just want to catch up with Dishsoap. Dishsoap, how has the new set been treating you so far?
I've been enjoying it. I feel like the climb hasn't been going as well as I'd like, but I mean, honestly, I'm gonna have to be away for stuff for Box of Bootcamp anyway, so I probably can't even compete in that realistically. So it is what it is. But I've been really enjoying the set. I haven't felt like as optimistic about like the start of a set in a while, and like there's been some like really annoying stuff going on the past few days, but I mean, hopefully a lot of that is behind us, and we can just enjoy like the actual like default gameplay of the set, which is pretty entertaining in my opinion.
Yeah, I think the core gameplay loop of set 13 feels really good to me so far. I don't think that, like, outside of some of the broken interactions with anomalies or some like family reroll being too strong for the B patch, I've been really enjoying the trait webs a lot. I think the splashability of a lot of things has made board building really interesting in the mid, even late stages of the game. And then we're going to cover a lot of that. So why don't we start things off just by diving into the tier list and just talk about all the compositions that we have on TFTAcademy's tier list.
Got it.
Okay, so starting at the very top, we have the family reroll. Now, this is going to get nerfed. So the big question is, with the nerf, it's a big number change. It's going down from 450 to 350. And of course, the scaling is also nerfed on Violet. Where do we think this lands? This composition was, I mean, if we were to actually be very clear on the tier list, this comp was SS tier. And I think it's like, it actually was kind of like a tier of itself. But, you know, alas, there's also some other comps that's kind of in that range. Now that it got nerfed, is it still going to be a good comp, or do you think this is going to be kneecap it completely?
It's probably still good. One second, I have to find something. Someone played it post nerf in like the game I just played on ladder. I just want to see the placement.
You actually just played it on the C patch.
Oh no! Someone else played in the lobby. They went 5th. They didn't have 4-star Violet. They went for like one that like busts your unit based on the star levels on your team, and they went up 5th. So I don't know. I mean, it's like a one game sample. You can't really discern anything out of that, but I feel like it could probably still top 4. I believe it's buffed from like how it launched, like a decent bit. Just not like Violet herself won't be nearly as strong, but probably with like a good enough opener, good enough like augments, and definitely some artifacts, like she can definitely probably still be playable.
Yeah, the core general game plan is get that early Violet, and you can even win streak with her. Get items for her, get items for Draven, get 3-star Violet, and then for the anomaly, which is obviously going to be our main topic for today, you roll until you're able to get Ultimate Hero, which 4-stars her.
Yep.
And that's been like a core strategy, sort of dominating the meta. A lot of players have been successful with it. Number one player ranked in North America, Asa, is playing it 80% of his games or so, and having a lot of success. But alongside the family reroll is Camille. And I think a lot of people are talking about how Camille is, I don't know if it's very quietly, but I think a lot of people, I think family's taking all the spotlight. But Camille rerolls also very devastating and winning a ton of lobbies that I'm playing in. Do you feel the same way?
Somewhat. I don't really know why this is the case, but it feels like a very volatile comp, as in I've seen it like completely run over lobbies, and I've like played those games myself, but I've also seen it just fall flat, even with like theoretical good items, good anomaly, decent augments, and hitting the units. I couldn't really give you a reason why that is. Maybe it's just like how, like maybe it's just like a lobby strength issue. Maybe it's like different encounters. Like if you get a counter with like a bunch of extra items, uh, it's a little weaker. I definitely had a game like that where like I don't know. I basically had two, like everyone in the lobby had two fully itemized carries by Krugs. They were just, it was like Violet or Vi encounter giving us everyone 2 anvils and then like a 5-item Krugs or something crazy. and then like my Camille 2 couldn't do anything, so I just loaded up into stage 4 with like 30 HP, and then it was just unplayable. But I've also just had games where like I've had Camille 2 with a certain artifacts just kill everything, and then being able to top 2 on Camille 2 basically. So I don't know. Like the comp's good, but in my personal or personal like experience, it has been kind of it's had a lot of variance.
I mean, I think I played a game with you today where it actually happened to me. I think I had like bis everything, but it was also loot subscription. So I think, like you kind of described, it was higher tempo, and so there's just when you start getting to a situation where there's multiple people that can target Camille, I think it becomes a problem because she actually can get bursted. And I also had the invisibility anomaly that actually supposed to drop aggro, so it can be very hit or miss. I think also Camille really depends on having a duo carry sometimes. Like like a Smeech can be really valuable, and Smeech is sometimes the god of TFT, and sometimes he's a complete troll. So I definitely had some hit or miss moments like that too.
Yeah. So she's single target. She like really thrives in low power environments because like the more tank items they have, like the more casts you're gonna have to go to get through the front line compared to if they just have like a 1 giga tank or something. And then the more carries they have online, the more they can just focus your Camille down. So
Yeah,
it seems like something that like you really want to look towards in like a low power environment, but maybe stay away on those like prismatics and crab raves or whatever.
I did just play a game as Precedent who played it from Spectral Cutlass though. That's how you can kind of supersede that. Spectral
Yep,
Cutlass is a great artifact for a lot of these melee
it's
rerolls.
broken.
Super good.
I don't like Riot usually like always like prioritizes the units and like like they prioritize balancing the unit and the set mechanic first, just because that's like the most visible part of the set. But some of these artifacts need to get looked at. It's just some craziness going on right now.
Yeah, is there another combo that's sticking out to your mind?
I mean, Prowler's Claw and Cutlass are just extremely overstated. I don't know why they have the stats that they have. They got buffed at the end of the last set on the for fun patch, so people didn't really like get to experience them in the competitive environment, but they're crazy right now. Silvermare has always been crazy. Last set there just weren't that many good holders. The only holders are like Hero Augments and Fiora, but now there's like Camille and Violet. It's like Abyss on them as well. So Silvermare is just crazy. Mostly just because of the units in the set. Trenchcoat is disgusting. Basically on any melee unit in the set because they all have pretty low mana and like burst. So it's like crazy on Violet. It's crazy on Mbessa. It actually makes like fast state Mbessa like very viable. It's like it makes even like Tempo Vi good, just because how
Yeah,
broken of
Vi's
an
very
item
good with
is.
it too.
Um, yeah, it's just Trenchcoat's just disgusting right now. So like mostly just the melee ones, I guess. Um, Prowlers,
Well,
Cutlass,
even some other
Silvermare,
stuff like
Trenchcoat.
I've seen like Mana Zaneheimer go kind of crazy, or Malzahar. Both of those do really well. Just kind
Yep.
of a lot of the big classic artifact combos. I don't know if you've seen Rapid Fire Nocturne. That thing
Oh
100 my
yeah, yeah, yeah.
lobby. One player hit IE RFC Nocturne 2, and they 100 streaked until like stage 6. It was crazy.
Yeah, surprisingly, it doesn't based his like because he like spins around. So you would think the spin around does its damage like
Near
based on
hit.
where the Nocturne is, but no, it's based on
Yes.
like where he autos. It's like it
Yes.
just
Yes. Yes.
it's so strange. It just makes RFC like crazy on him. But when like previous versions of the spin Nocturne was like, I don't think they wanted RFC at all. So
Yeah, exactly. So because then they'd be out of the range to
mhm.
AOE and they would blend and nothing would be around them. So
Yeah, they would just turn it would just turn into a dead unit. And now it's just Biss.
all right, well, we're just now here just complaining about every powerful artifact
Yeah.
combination. But just as a general summary, and this is going to be somewhat of a related topic later on, but Portable Forge, Living Forge, all those artifact starts can be very powerful if you just look up some of those item stats combos and really dig in deep because there's a lot to unpack there. All right, the other really big carry, and this is probably going to be the post C patch most dominant composition, or at least people that are going to be aiming for it, is Heimerdinger and variations of Heimerdinger, specifically playing in combination with Malzahar and putting him in Sentinels, playing him in Black Rose, playing him in Academy. So, Heimerdinger, what is your preferred way to approach Heimerdinger, and what do you think is like the situations that you can beat some of these crazy cap reroll comps and like why it caps so high?
I mean, you could play him in some like a lot of flex boards because he doesn't need Academy, and he can even function as a carry with 2 visionary, so he's like super flexible. But the most common like boards you play him on are specifically like Vertical Sentinel, and like Sentinel kind of bleeds into Academy because like very often you can drop like 2 of the Sentinels for like Jace and as like Jace Ezreal or something. Just for like more academies if your academy items are good. So it's like Sentinel / Academy Heimer is one of them, and the other one is like some combination of 4 visionary with good frontline. The frontline might be Black Rose. That's a very common version. It might just be like good units like Garen. Yeah, it might just be stuff like a Mundo 2. It could still be just like 4 Sentinel, 4 visionary, like fits still. Um, but like that's the most 2 versions. It's like the one that's like really deep in the Sentinel tree with Academy, and the one that's playing more around for visionary with Mouse.
Yeah, there's tech from APAC. They are right now, at least the powerhouse region, because they won the most recent world championships. A lot of people are paying attention to them. There's tech from them saying that right now, a lot of people are focusing on itemizing Garen as their tank in the Black Rose compositions, having Scion and Garen holding like Warmogs, Redemption, getting the Anomaly to give them HP buffs, and then trying to stick that in front of things like Camille, right? Like she can't get past it with a single target if you have so much HP and that Scion, and a Scion revives, right? It's just going to be becoming really problematic. And that's like a way you stall out. So the
Yep.
idea is stall for as long as you can. Heimerdinger ramps up. The more he casts, the more missiles he gets. Very fun mechanic. And so by just putting things in the way, 6 Sentinel, Scion reviving with Garen, or if you're just powering up with the Academy with a bunch of free items, there's a lot of different ways that you can make Heimerdinger shine. Do you think you need like because I know a lot of people always try to go for like the blue buff archangels, but that's such a hard build to get because you need 3 tiers and such contested components.
I'd like to use the word need, but it's like it like the build clears everything else, but like you'd be surprised how much it clears. I think there are often games where you like get an anomaly that gives AP and you can drop Archangel for something like a flex item slam, but blue buff is like his most built item by far, and it's like his best like delta by far.
Yeah.
And Shojin is his like worst delta by far, but also like super high play rate. So at least the way the stats are looking, I haven't done the math. I assume like there's a reason just because of like how low mana he is, and the fact that Visionary now works with blue buff because it gains 10 mana after casting. So
Yeah. I initially thought the blue buff change was going to just be like an overall slight nerf, and then because of the way visionaries work, it's actually like super powerful with this.
yeah,
So.
I think it was intended to be like a buff to blue buff, and it definitely is. So
I see.
what I would say is that like you can definitely make Shojin because it's good on like a bunch of the other carries in the game. But if you really like want to be hard forcing Heimer and maximizing the Heimer, I feel like the blue buff is super necessary. I wouldn't say Archangels and Gunblade are necessary, but I do think it's the best build. Sometimes you can go like Guardbreaker or GS over one of them, or like you can give him like anti-heal if you have like a duo carry because he spreads that pretty well. But other than that, I'd say like you really want to stick to the blue buff.
All right. Let's head into the A tier and talk about pretty much like we have a lot of comps here that we can talk about. So why don't we start off at the one we have just right here listed, which is Scrap. Scrap, I think, started off real hot, and then everyone was thinking that Scrap was going to be really powerful. You get Corki, you get a lot of shields. Rumble just keeps scaling higher and higher and higher. Why isn't Scrap at the top? I think a lot of people had the perception that it was an S tier comp.
Well, I mean, it got nerfed. Got a pretty big nerf. Unless you're talking like after the nerf.
Yeah. As people still were thinking that Scrap was still going to be really good.
Oh, that nerf was huge. I thought I looked at the nerf. I thought it was like a dead comp. Like it being H to me is like a surprise because I thought it would be a lot worse. The main thing is that like they decreased the shield size, but the decrease in time from 20 to 30 seconds made like your matchups against the stall comps a lot worse. Okay, the weird thing is I'm pretty sure with like the Violet and the like the invisibility nerf that like this comp actually might get worse because I feel like this comp's in the meta because it has a good matchup into the melees. Because if you get 3-item Corki, 3-item Gangplank, which you can pretty much easily do because frontline items are not that good in this comp, is those 2 units combined with the stall of the frontline Scrap Shield can actually burst down even Violet 4 and like Camille 3. So you actually had a surprisingly good matchup there. And you often, when I played this comp, you often end up losing to the other stuff. But now with potentially less Violet 4 and maybe not as strong Camille boards because of the lack of invisibility,
Mm.
I mean, like, I feel like it's probably still fair to put it in A tier just because of the potential of like being able to carry like Rumble, Echo, and like a bunch of other 5 costs if you have Scrap on them. I can definitely still being an A tier, but I think it might be worse.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. Because its best matchup might actually get nerfed. That's something I didn't
Yeah,
consider.
I kind of viewed it as like a melee counter comp.
Okay. Something to keep in mind in case melees come back. My favorite vertical lately to be playing is Rebel. I think Rebel seems to do really well. It caps really high. It also has a couple of variations that people really like to play. You can play Rebel around AP, obviously around like your 4 cost Zoe. If you can cap around the AD variations with, Jinx 2. I've seen people play around Corki in this as well, like kind of a Corki Ezreal, maybe even going for Ezreal 3. And then there's even people that reroll like Akali within Rebels, and so it feels like Rebels actually has become quite a dynamic vertical.
Yeah, I agree. I mostly like I've only played the Zoe version, but I've like my duo carries and like my trio carries have been different every time I played it, or not every time I play it, but like often when I play it. Like just the way the trait works is you put 7 rebels on your board, even more so with emblem. Like you end up with like, oh, do I want to fill out a quick striker with Mbessa? Do I want to get Echo for ambusher with my Jinx? Do I want to get Stork for my Zoe, maybe with LeBlanc? Do I want to like play an Elise carry because it gives Bruiser to my set, and then like you can just branch it to a lot of like the higher cost units. So your like duo and trio carries can be kind of different every game. That's why like, and that also just makes Rebel Emblem very very insane because you can drop one of the like low cost units for one of the good ones.
Yep, that's right, that's right. And I think its win rate is really high too. I think if you look at all of like the emblems and you just look at all the verticals, Rebel can close the game, and that's something where I think a lot of in an environment where there's like Violet 4 and there's like these Camille, being able to close the game is really huge because it feels like not a lot of comps have the ability to actually take those down. And so I am interested in Rebel post C patch. By the time this releases, we don't know. Maybe everyone's gonna be already be spamming Rebel because it's gonna be really good. But that's one of my predictions to do really well.
I just played a game of the CFetch and I played Rebel and I won, but
Oh, all right.
a little bit of high rolling, maybe some would say, but
Yeah. What was your anomaly setup?
I just took a generic tank one for Alawi. It was like
Okay.
increase armor to Mar, and I had like double stone plate, so it was pretty good.
Got it. Got
Um,
it. Got it.
but
Got it.
I hit Jinx 2, Jace 2 on N8, so
I
with
see.
the
I
Rebel
see.
emblem. So my backline was
I
Zoe
see.
2, Zoe 2, Jace 2, Jinx 2, and nothing. I didn't really lose any rounds.
Wow. Impressive. Impressive. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. A couple of other verticals that we have here. We talked about Academy. Let's talk about Conquerors and Enforcers. And these are like pretty dependent on emblem as far as
Mhm.
I know. In fact, I feel like they're just entirely propped up at it. If you don't have them, they're like C tier lines. They're pretty bad.
Yep.
I don't know if you feel any different than that.
I might have to defer on this because these are like my least played comps. I played them like I played +1 Enforcer, +1 Conqueror like day one of the set, and like the flaws in that became like the flaws of those comp became very very apparent to me, and I've like kind of just avoided them on purpose since then. Like just not even taking Enforcer +1, not even taking Conqueror +1.
I've experienced that myself. They're very like they're like snowbally very comps. Like you want to
Mhm.
win. Like well, specifically Conquers is like Sugarcraft in some that sense. You kind of need to keep snowballing. I like the Conquer opener. I think like playing around Draven and Gangplank, getting the 2 gold off the 10 feels so satisfying. And if you're able to like, oh, sometimes you're just playing Conquer splashed in. Let's say you're playing in like Black Rose. You're like, oh, I just get like a 2 star 2 cost. It could be really nice playing the vertical of it feels like even if you have the emblem, I mean, I gotta be honest, the only time I've ever seen it really succeed is if they are in like a trainer golem situation, they're snowballing like a crazy unrealistic comp, or they were like bug abusing Gangplank
Mm.
and doing some cosmic shenanigans there, which is now fixed, thankfully.
I've seen Conquer succeed. Yeah, I've seen Conquer succeed. I've seen like Enforcer like win streak the whole game and then you go like second or third before. That's like the cap I've seen it at. But I've definitely seen Conquer succeed somewhat, and I couldn't really tell you like why they succeeded with like when they did. Probably just like got on the resource train like ahead of tempo and was just like ahead of resources on everyone.
Yep,
Probably.
exactly. At least that's my vibes. You just have to just be ahead. It's a very fun line to play though. If you're ever
Yep.
ahead, it's really really cool.
I feel like Enforcer, it's just I feel like Enforcer really just struggles just because of how mediocre Caitlyn is right now. It's because like you like wait all your game for this like super insane 5 cost late game spike, and then it's just like, oh, it's worse than all the other units. You're not even spiking.
Yeah,
You're like the rest of the lobby spiking.
Caitlyn is a burst champion, and she
Mm.
doesn't actually burst anything down. I've had her shoot, like a 1-star backliner and not kill them. They leave it at like 10 HP, and you don't have the ability to clean it up because you just play enforcer 8 enforcers. How are you supposed to get the rest of that job done? So I would like for them to probably raise Caitlyn's baseline a little bit. That might make 8 enforcer too good, but maybe bring down 8, bring Caitlyn a little bit up, and I think that might actually end up being the sweet spot.
So the thing about Caitlyn, it's like kind of weird. It's like you think of her as like a sharpshooter, but she like most of her damage is just completely indiscriminate, like AoE or around the board. She like headshots random units. Her ship will go down and bombard random units. So it's like you think of this as like a precise sniper type character, but it's just a bunch of random damage everywhere. And like if you play her, I mostly play her like when I'm playing Twitch. Where I've noticed this is like, yeah, she actually does a lot of damage in the damage charts, but it's all fake because you need someone to actually finish it off. Um,
And Twitch
and
is so bad at finishing, man. He's the worst finisher in the
oh wait,
game.
really? Oh, really?
He thinks he
I like
leaves so
Twitch.
many units barely alive when you lose.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, maybe.
All right, fair enough, fair enough. I mean, we can talk about Twitch as well. So there's a 6 bruiser Twitch variation.
Oh, this one's insane. The bruiser version's insane. The other ones are like, I think the other like the flex version is like good when you have bronze for life. Like that makes it playable. But otherwise, it's like you're playing for top 4. But the bruiser version's like the nuts. I feel.
It's so I've had so many angles for it, and I think what it reminds me of is Varus from the previous set, where if you are slightly behind tempo, you're in a really rough spot, and if you're stuck on like a Twitch 1 and you don't have the Mundo, you're like you're just like dead. It feels like you have to like be either on tempo or slightly ahead of it. But if you do get that online, you're in a great spot. But I just feel like I played it so many times where I was like stuck on Twitch 1, Mundo 1, and I thought my spot was great. And I just like didn't win any fights on stage 4. And then by the time I hit 2-star, the Violet 4 was online. And I couldn't like kill that, and I'd always lose by 1 or 2 units, and I just bled out. So
Wait.
I'm not sure if that's how your experience went.
The bruiser version or
Yes, the 6 bruiser version.
oh, okay. I cannot relate. I'm sorry. I feel like every time I've gotten that, it was just like a free game.
Well,
Uh,
okay, so maybe we can break that down. So when you got the free game, is it because like the way you're setting up for it is better? Like, are you playing like a pretty straightforward bruiser curve with sniper backline? Like, how's it actually panning out for you so smoothly? Because I feel like it's going great, and then all of a sudden it just doesn't do anything when I'm stuck on Twitch 1, Mundo 1.
well, I played a game like this is the game I played like before the Rebel game. I won with it. I got bruiser spat off of carousel, like the stage 3 carousel. I was playing like a Draven opener. I slammed IE Ginsu, got the red buff augment. I forgot what my 2-1 augment. No, my 2-1 augment was support silver thing, support golem, but it's not a support golem. It's the dummy that you have to like wait 9 rounds or something.
Support mining.
Yeah, support mining. Yeah, it was that. I got a Randuin's off of that. Got bruiser spat off the thing. I was playing like Sentinel opener, so I didn't really like play around bruiser curve at all. Uh, and then on 4-2, I rolled like 70 gold, hit a Twitch 1, Mundo 1, at least 2. 2-star the other bruisers, and I like didn't really lose around for the rest of the game.
Okay,
I had Mundo 2 on like stage 5, but
and so when you slam those items, you were like looking at play Twitch, but you got the bruiser emblem on stage
yeah,
3.
yeah, basically.
Okay. All right. Well,
Uh,
I mean,
I don't know. Like whenever I've gotten 6 bruiser on Mundo, it just felt super stable. So
fair enough. Fair enough. I mean, I played it twice today, and I didn't find Mundo until after my anomaly, which is also a big problem too.
that's your problem right there. I figured it out. You need a Mundo anomaly. You don't even go for Twitch anomaly. That shit sucks.
I mean, I'm not trying to. I can't find this Mundo.
Okay,
Man.
well,
It's just
well,
impossible.
Okay, well, I feel like I figured out your problem.
All right. Just hit.
But-
Okay, I got to hit Mundo much quicker.
Yeah, so you just go for any of the Mundo ones that increase max HP or like have something to do with max HP. So like the broken ones are There's like Deep Roots and Gigantify or whatever it's called. They give you 1,000 HP. Like those are pretty good.
Yeah.
There's one that like it goes away at the start of the fight, then jumps back in with 60% increased health. That one's actually pretty nice as well.
Oh, that's a good. I never thought about that one. Okay.
And then there's one that like shields itself and another. It might be. I don't know if it's 1 or 2 units, but it shields itself and some other number of units based
Yeah.
on its max HP. That one's kind of crazy. So you just roll for one of those 5, and then you have Bruiser Mundo, and it's like it actually gives time enough for Twitch to stall, or it stalls long enough for Twitch to do damage.
All right. Well, we'll talk more about anomalies later on, but I'm excited to dive back in because now all I have to do is, well, Dishsoap says just get the Mundo online, but I do
Yeah,
I
just
do
get the
think that there's
Mundo.
more anomalies maybe that I need to figure out. I mean, I don't know what it is. Every time I play it though, I'm in like a 2 or 3 way contest for it, so it just feels bad.
Yeah.
All right, the last comp here is Kog'Maw. Kog'Maw was actually quite dominant at the beginning of the sets, and then kind of cooled off a little bit post nerf. What's your read on Kog'Maw right now?
It is impossible to win with. I feel at least in like the lobbies I play. Yeah, I definitely could see in like lower ranks it can win games, but I mean to me this is like Bard 2.0, like the trick shot Bard that one set.
Ah,
Um,
set
is where
11.
you set 11 where you reroll Bard and TK, and now it's like Scar and Kog'Maw. They're both attack speed Gunblade units, and you have like a reroll front line, and it's like really insane at the start because a scaling backliner with healing is just hard to deal with when you don't optimize damage. When your opponents aren't optimizing damage, and then same with like the 3-star front line. But once like the set goes on and people know what to do, it just gets weaker and weaker and weaker. The problem is you just can't really scale into legendaries at all. The most you can do is just play random Jace with no synergies, or just like play it in something else with like randomly with no synergies, because the 6 watcher and 4 watcher or 6 watcher is too strong to drop, and you just can't really fit anything.
Yeah, and you're playing a bunch of one costs, so
So yeah,
it's like
if
a
you
cap
play it
score.
from win streak and a good enough HP lead, you can go second. But often it's like you just bleed into a third or a fourth, which I don't know. It's like fine. It's really really easy to play if you have the items for it, because it's actually pretty stable at 1 stars, and I mean it's just super straightforward. You play the exact same units every game, but it just has really hard problems closing out.
I did win one game with it on my climb. It's because I hit the actual Giga Nuts. I hit
Mhm.
Wits End. It
Oh
was
yeah,
the wind up monkey. So I had Wits End, Radiance, Rage Blade, and Archangels.
I
So
can see that. I can see that.
it
Witsed's
cleared. It
definitely
did so
crazy.
much damage. So that was a fun variation if you want to try it. Okay, for all the B tier comps, we could spend some time going through all of it, but let's just go ahead and just pick some of our favorite comps. And this could be B, C, or even the situational tier. So just
Mhm.
give me 1 or 2 things that you have your eye on that you actually like.
I don't actually. I've never actually played it, some like very like at all. But I think for emissaries, like I think I'm probably underrating it in B tier, and I think like definitely post patch it could rise up. It's being seeing like a decent amount of success right now. Mostly just because Garen is like super super strong. It's kind of like how Scrap was good, because I mean, okay, maybe the matchups are too bad after the melee matchups nerfs, but it was very good counter to melee comps, because the Garen was unkillable, and then you played like Corki, Tristana, GP backline, and Mbessa could all just burst it down. But now, like maybe you don't need to burst on melees anymore. But regardless, I feel like the 4 emissary Garen setups have been very very good, especially if you get like a good anomaly on Garen. I remember like, I mean this is kind of different, but I had a God, I don't know Augment names. The one where you get a 2 cost every time you level up. I should know this one. The
Caretaker's
one,
Ally.
yeah, caretakers. You take that all the time. But I took that one time. I got Tristana, and I played like some 4 emissary, 4 form swapper board with Tristana Jace duo, and that board was crazy. But that's like obviously very niche because it requires you to be level 9 with Tristana 3. I guess I just want to say that like for emissary, I think I was maybe overreacting to the nerfs on PBE, because they got a fair amount of nerfs. But now with like stuff like Scrap and Black Rose getting nerfed and stuff, it might be worth looking into more.
Yeah, it's very popular in Vietnam. I think this is probably my second most successful comp behind Violet Reroll, where I think I've only buffered once with it, but I do feel like it's one of those things where it's really expensive. It's a very expensive comp.
Mhm.
It's because kind of going back to some of the problems we talked about, others just you have like 1 star Mbessa, 1 star Garen, you actually can run into some pretty frontline issues. The backline is actually pretty cheap because you can play, Tristana 2, Nami, and that's fine. But you end up kind of struggling a little bit with your front line. But the upside of it is this is probably one of my favorite traits they've made in a while. The trait web and what you can do to flex in for emissary is beautiful. There's an image. I'll see if I can pull it up real quick. My buddy Clement, who's a fellow like commentator and analyst, one time decided to try to do like a mind map of emissary, and it's just it's a lot to take in if you don't even know what's going on. Basically, he like circles and hovers around different groups of units that you can package and play. But this is how emissary can flow because you can, tie in things like Mbessa Splash is a quick striker, but that quick striker kind of locks in to some of these other 5 costs like Mordekaiser Blitzcrank, or maybe you play Corki, which lets you play Rumble, and that ties in with the Sentinel with Alawi, and all these different things. And that's part of what I think makes emissary really cool. And then you kind of go into the point where sometimes you're angling for 4 emissary, and then you realize that you can't even fit the 4 emissaries. You take them out because in the end you're playing a Tristana and a Nami, and you could be playing more high quality units. So I like emissary a lot. I think this is probably going to go down as one of my favorite trades they've ever made.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that one, but
You don't like it that much?
the trade not really. I mean, the map is kind of cool, but I feel like you could hikey do that for like a lot of comps to set. I don't think that's like just an emissary thing. Um, but I don't know. I like some of the units. I like Garen. I like Tristana. I kind of don't like the. I mean, like Ninja was what it used to be. It was like 1-4. You need like exactly 1 or 4 to do it. Those are not like my favorite, but
okay, so it feels like 2 all or nothing. Like either you get all the emissaries or just like
yeah, mostly. I also I feel like maybe this is not even a good criticism, but like the trait is super like at like one star level, it's super about like buffing your team, and even at 4, it gives you like all your emissary bonuses. But like the 4 emissary exact trait is like your emissaries get this buff, so you feel kind of bad itemizing the non emissaries, even though like it's like not that big of a deal. Like you can still do it. It's just like it feels bad.
okay, got it. Fair enough.
So that's why I don't like it. But like high key, I don't think the like that trait web is like emissary only. I feel like you do that for like a lot of comps right now.
All right, fair enough.
So
Maybe I'm not open enough to some of those kind of splashes in other comps. My pick for the rest of the meta that I think people are not paying attention to is Mad Chemist Singed. I actually think this is a very real carry in hero augment. Mainly because it kind of plays in the same core as what makes Six Sentinel like Visionaries really good. Like you just basically play Singed as a Six Sentinel in that package. But it brings back the memories of set 2 Singed being a complete troll, and it's actually kind of good if you get like the good items. I think part of it was that we didn't understand the itemization for Singed, but I think you want Archangel's healing, and I think Gunblade's better than Bloodthirster because Gunblade like with the way it kind of heals the Sentinels is really good. And then Jewel Gauntlet slash Morello. So like these are really specific items, but if you get it, I think I don't ever bought 4 with it once you get it online because Singed can actually get to the back line. You position him on the opposite side of enemy carries because he always darts to the top corner on the opposite side. And it's just really funny because that Twitch ain't going anywhere. So you can always just snipe the Twitch. And there's a lot of fun times to be had. So this is one of my favorite comp, I think, of the situationals.
yeah, I haven't seen it before. Like the playing like with or against. I actually cannot remember anyone playing this against me, surprisingly. So I have like I have very little to say about it. I'm just imagining though, like it was probably not very good when 4-star violets were meta. It sounds like you can never kill Violet 4, and then it would just burst it down with true damage. But maybe when after the nerfs, I could definitely see this being good.
Well, so I mean, you're right in the sense that it still struggled a little bit with the 4-star Violet. I got second like twice or 3 times with it or something like that because I couldn't kill the Violet, but it killed everything else. So just keep an eye out for it. It post Violet 4, especially if you find like again that backline Heimer and Malzahar, you can pretty much kill anything.
Yeah, so I can't really say anything about this situational tier that we have because I haven't clicked any of these augments. I might be lame. I mean, I've clicked the what was it called? The duo. I'm trying to click on it. Reunion. I think it was reunion. I don't know. No, I clicked the one that gave that was like those Echo Vi before, but it was
Yep.
just
You're
like,
talking about Reunion.
yeah.
Reunion,
I
I
mean, I
mean,
played it in Camille because it gives an echo, and you can
there
do
you
an
go.
ambush. You can do ambush for Spad Vi, so it's actually pretty good on that. But that's probably not really what they intended.
I think that there's a handful of comps here that people have succeeded with. I think people have reported success with gloves off, although I'm of the belief that it makes your Vander worse. So I'm not that big of a fan of it. Crimson Pact, people have turned it into that Garen comp. You're not supposed to anomaly your Vlad. You're actually supposed to
Mhm.
anomaly the Garen, like kind of we talked about, and that's how the success. I think that's where some people were missing. And I think with a bunch of these situational hero augments, I think that's what they're going to find their place. We need to figure out what to do with them, and that's what makes them so hard to place. And without augment stats, we're kind of like a little bit lost, quite frankly, because that will help us solve and optimize them much quicker.
Yeah.
But I guess that's part of the fun of it. Like, I've had fun clicking on Crimson Pact and barely squeezing out a fourth, which actually blew my mind because my start was so amazing. I was like, this has got to be at least like a top three, top two. And I went like the most uncontested fourth of all time. But it's something out there that people can play. So
Oh, also, I clicked on geniuses before. That's a prismatic, by the way. Like what the hell? I don't know. I clicked it because it gave a Heimer too. It is very, very difficult to play Heimer and Echo on the same board and have your synergies not look trash. Uh,
yeah.
like there's like one tie-in. It's like you can tie it in with like Rumble, but then you have to hit a Rumble, and then like your front line's all trash because you're like playing it like a front. You're playing an Echo instead of like another Sentinel or like instead of Academy or something, and then it's just rough. And it's also prismatic, so you're just down at prismatic.
Yep. Exactly.
That one was a little suspicious.
Oh man, I'm looking forward to eventually diving more into this. All right, but for now, that does it for our tier list. And that was a little bit of a longer section because it's the first of it, and we'll revisit it as things move up and down.
I think they like when we yap.
This next section, we used to do factor fraud, but that was because we threw out stats observations, and there's just fewer of them. So I'm changing it up a little bit, and we're going to be calling this finish this statement. So I'm just going to throw out a couple of leading parts of a sentence or statement, and Dishsoap has to finish it and tell me what he's been doing or what he thinks about it. So here's the first one. One underrated augment I've been choosing lately is.
So what augments? I don't even know if this is underrated, but I think it will very, very clearly be. I mean, I've seen a lot of people take it, and I think it'll very, very clearly like trickle down to like the masses and maybe Riot Games that this augment is not okay to set. Is Dark Alley Dealings. Um,
Oh, trench
just
coat.
yeah, okay. Trenchcoat is just disgusting. Like we all thought last set, Trenchcoat was good, and like I think it was an 11 as well. Like Trenchcoat was very, very good, but like you like that version of Trenchcoat does not even compare to this one. Because like last set Trenchcoat, like you could the broken combos was like other artifacts, which was hard to get, and like Vow on some tanks. But this set, it's just true Biss on like all of the melees. So like if you're playing reroll, it's like one of the best things you can see. And even if you're not playing reroll, you can just take it and then full pivot into like Mbessa primary and like I mean if you're playing Conqueror, obviously you do that, but you can also just play it like in like 4 emissary and then you like what you do is you like solo frontline the Mbessa and I don't even know why it works, but you just solo frontline it procs stretch code and then it just goes beast mode. Even if you have like something like Rebel Spat, like you open the game with Rebel Spat 3-2, I'm pretty sure your best augment is Dark Alley Dealings because then you just go Rebel Spat, Trenchcoat, and Bessa.
Yeah. I've seen that pop off before. It's very, very good.
Yeah, that one. But like I don't know if it's underrated because I see a lot of good players take it very often now, but I don't know if it's like known, like generally.
I think one underrated augment that I think people don't really think about very much. I think they actually click it a lot, but I think they think it as a for fun augment. But I'm pretty sure this augment might actually be quite good for reroll. Is a magic roll. The augment is just shenanigans. It just says roll 3 dice and get something. But if you actually look at the table, there's a lot of good things that can happen, including the quote low roll stuff where you get like a 1-1-1. You get 6 gold and 3 duplicators, which I didn't realize until I looked at the table. So I think this augment actually might be pretty underrated for a competitive player, even though it's perceived to be for fun. But I do think it largely leans towards being a reroll composition. I will say the 4x component can be very hit or miss. But if you kind of compare it to something, say, like a prismatic, the wand overflow or the sword overflow thing, I mean, if you're getting 4 of the components for a tier 2, but it is, effectively random, it can be kind of bad. But I do think that overall, this augment is perceived to be like an unserious augment, and I've seen it do some serious work.
I'm gonna disagree here. I don't know if this is the time to disagree.
I mean,
But
you can if you want.
want to hear my analysis on why you're like why I disagree, I guess.
Sure, hit me with it.
Uh, okay, so I don't really think this is like real only. Like, yeah, you get the 6 kill 3 dupes, but that's 0.5% of the time. So I don't think you can even look at that in the analysis. And then same with like the fawn or the tactician's cape. I just don't think you even consider those. 4%, like you can kind of consider this. I feel like Pan kind of sucks a set. Like obviously, if you get it on 3-2, it's like you can play around it, but I mean, this is also kind of not worth talking about that much because it's 4%. But 33% of the time, like this is where like the main analysis of like if you check this augment or not goes is just the 4x same component because you have to like if you're actually like looking at your spot and thinking about this augment seriously of like what it should take, you should make sure that like if you get 4 swords or something, it's not the end of the game. And like think about every component. And like if there's only one bad one, like I mean maybe you just still take it. But if there's like 2 or 3 that you like would just instantly lose the game with, you probably don't take this augment. And my biggest problem with this is actually the thing that happens the most is I think the 2 random 3 cost and 1x2 cost is trash for a gold augment. And that happens 37% of the time. So yeah, I don't really want to click it because of that. I think the plus HP is actually pretty good though. It used to be pretty bad, but then they buffed it. So like I would rather roll a 4 than an 11. Weirdly enough,
It is upgraded for what it's worth. It's
it's upgraded, but it's like it sells for 21. I mean, obviously, if it like wins you fights, it's good, but
It can also so if you're like playing for a specific tier, it feels like it could kind of like there's some comps that kind of want the 3 cost and that kind of I've seen it do pretty well. And then it's not even necessarily this is not actually something that's like an original idea. It's actually been something that was put into my head by some other players that were talking about it. And they're like, is this actually kind of good? They think it's actually kind of good. So I I feel like this augment in general is has some potential, but I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. I think it's valid criticism.
yeah, I think 250 health is good, and I think for sync when is often very good.
So you're
But
worried about the. I mean,
yeah,
you're right. If you
I
just
don't
get
like
like
the
20
units.
gold, it could be pretty
Yeah,
trash. Yeah. Okay, I can see that.
I don't really like the units that much.
All
So.
right. Fair enough. Fair enough. All right. Number 2, the most overrated augment people are choosing is.
I think the most overrated augment people are taking is a Shimmer Scale Essence. I think it's the one that gives you a. Wow, I cannot remember what it's called. It's the tank
A
one.
mogul's mail.
Yeah, it's the one that gives you a Mogul's Melt and 5 rounds that gives you a Gambler's Blade. Obviously, the Mogul's Melt can still be pretty good if you have tank items. It's not nearly as good as it used to be. But my problem with this augment is mostly just the Gambler's Blade. It does give you a lot of gold, and the Gambler's Blade is fantastic on Kog'Maw, but I feel like this augment locks you into Kog'Maw. And that could be a problem if you get contested. I feel like unless you're like turbo shrinking on moguls and you have like a really, really strong Falan setup, the gamblers ends up just being super, super weak because there's just no good holders. All the attack speed units are like AD units, and the item doesn't give any AD, it gives AP. So just I mean, like yeah, you can put it on like someone like something like Mal's, but I feel like you don't even get to like even with like farming a bunch of extra gold, you don't even get to the point where you can pivot into 5 costs because just like having like moguls and gamblers, there's not enough combat power unless you're specifically playing Kog'Maw. But then it's like kind of hard to pivot Kog'Maw to 5 costs as well because you probably want to make a Ginsu. Then where's the Ginsu going? So I don't know. I feel like it's just awkward because of the gamblers mostly because there's no like consistent like 4 costs you can put it on.
Yeah, that makes sense. Guy skip straight to the 5 costs. I mean, I generally agree. I think 3 cost contested reroll is miserable, so hard to disagree there. My pick is Wandering Trainer. There's a lot of people that click it, and I think the variance on it is extremely high right now because of just the bands of having the goods versus bads. I think Prismatic is actually where it gets really sketch because of the trade-off that you get. You're talking about how you're comparing starts that give you Living Forge, and then you have something like Wandering Trainer. And I see some players like, well, you can get some insane stuff, right? You can get like the Rebel +1, the Black Rose +1. You can get a family emblem and get the 4 family. You could get like Chem Baron, right? You can get the chemistry. But like I've seen it. I think it's just way too much of a ban right now. And usually things like Wandering Trainer get much better towards the end of the set. Where people like where the emblems are much more balanced, the traits feel like they're much more cohesive, and you can kind of work with it. So I would say right now, be very careful about Wandering Trainer. I think it's an augment that's probably more on the fun side, but I think if you're trying to climb seriously, it is actually a huge pitfall a lot of times.
Yeah, the analysis I was actually given on this augment by some good players is that like getting a random emblem is very good, but it's kind of hard to use multiple random emblems just because of how some stuff works. Like yeah, you can it's mostly just that like most lines have like can like flex into a lot of stuff without an emblem already, and like it like a way to put this is like you can put Vi in Twitch very easily just because it like you can sometimes get a pit fighter with like Urgot, and you can very often get enforcer with like Caitlyn. But if you get if you get random sniper emblem plus quick striker emblem, it's not like that but much of a benefit because yeah, now you can play Ambessa with your quick striker, but you could have already played Vi. Basically, what I'm trying to say is like this set is already designed to be like pretty flexible and like branching out. So getting like completely random emblems that only like branch out into one extra unit aren't that big of a deal. So outside of like very specific high rolls, it's getting extra emblems besides just the one random is not as advantageous as it used to be.
Yes, I've clicked Trait Tracker twice, and I've been majorly disappointed both times I've done that. But like, no one's really choosing it, so I didn't really want to finish that with this.
Yeah, and there's besides like I think it's like Academy and somewhat Ambusher. There's no traits that like you all like. There's no elements that you like always get a benefit out of. And even those are like pretty situational because they
Right,
only make sense to play with certain carries.
right. No Arcana for like this
Yeah,
set, which
no
felt like it
Arcana,
was easy.
no Preserver, no Chrono, which is very often a good one there. So it makes random emblems a little bit worse, I think.
All right, finish this sentence. Dish soap. Chem Baron Loose Streak is.
Good, very good. Broken. How many more adjectives for good are there?
Oh,
Amazing,
I don't know.
wonderful.
I mean, some people think it's bait, some people think it's trash, but you think it's really good.
Yeah, I mean it is. Specifically, very specifically 2-1 or like I mean 2-2 is fine. If you're going later than that, it's a little suspicious. But I don't know. Compared's insane. If you get I feel like it's winnable on 300 cash out if you know what you're doing.
300. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, but it's like it's very easy to convert on 400, which is like the level that you get if you're like get it early, but you're not like turbo high rolling
Right.
like
You're not
emblems and
getting the
stuff.
extra Chem Barons on top.
Yeah, and then 500 is like you can't lose if you cash it out basically because it gives you perfected. I think it's very good. I will say though that like if you have like a really good win streak opener, I probably wouldn't like completely sell it to play Kimbaran unless it was like Kimbaran +1. Even if I had 3 Kimbaran, if I had like a fully upgraded other board and like a good slam, I'd probably just play the good slam, just because I think that's usually better. But if you have like Kimbaran +1, it's just crazy. I think that augment is, or like I mean, I think just Kimbaran +1 in general is disgusting.
If you lose your streak, right? Someone
Mhm.
like open force at the end of stage 2, is that game over or is it still salvageable?
It's game over unless you like have emblem and you're like triple high rolling. Because I mean, it happened to me once, but I had emblem and I had Civica on 4-1, so I actually still had enough to go 500 because I saved HP. Even
Oh,
though the streak got
okay.
griefed,
Wow. Okay.
even though the streak got griefed. But the thing is, if he didn't grief me, I would have been able to get 600 or something.
Okay.
So it's like the spot was so high rolled that it didn't even matter. But in like a normal game, if it turns into like a full open meta anyways, like maybe in like this like world hypothetical world after B patch, like a bunch of people open for Heimer to get tiers. If you like, it might not be worth playing Kimbaran then without emblem because like if you get griefed, you're kind of screwed, I guess.
All right, let's go into our pop quiz and see just how much Dish Soap has been studying the stats, shall we?
Not much. Let's see it.
All right. So, pop quiz. Last set, you finished 14 out of 30. So pretty solid. I think that's a pretty good because before you were clearing at 70% around there. Now you're at like 50%. I think we're trying to see if we can match that. So,
All right.
question number one. And we're gonna ease our way into this. This first episode, I have to say, pretty straightforward. What is the worst performing three cost four? Oh, sorry. What is the worst performing four cost 3-star in the game at Raw AVP right now? So what's the worst four costed 3-star at the moment?
I have no clue. I don't even. I've never looked at this once. Let me just look at the forecast real quick. I imagine at least 3 frontline is bad, but at least 3 backline probably isn't. But maybe people put in the front.
And if it helps, because it's hard because the data is very limited. So it was Emerald Plus when I was starting up. It doesn't change if you filter ranks, but it does. I want to give you context.
I mean, I'm just thinking about the lame units already. I think Mbess is pretty lame, so that's kind of where my mind is. Like Mbessa or Echo or Frontline Elise, but I'm pretty sure backline, like, there's no way backline Elise is bad, and like people probably, like, you have a bunch of rumors, like surely they'll make backline Elise their carry, and also it's so contested that if you hit at least 3, it's probably like stage 7. So it's probably scaled that way. I'm gonna go Mbessa because like her comps are bad, and I don't think she's an amazing unit. Or like Conqueror is like a little weird, and I don't think she's amazing.
That is correct. Mbessa is the
Okay,
worst. 1.6, a noticeable gap to everyone else because Twitch is a 1.5,
We'll take
and
it.
then it goes 1.4 up to all the way down. So, yeah, Mbessa. I mean, you summarized it really well. Mbessa is really underwhelming as a 3-star. It's actually the number one most complained about forecast in my chat. Everyone was like, I hit Mbessa 3 and I lost. Is that normal? I'm like, unfortunately, yes. All right. Question number 2. Rank these traits in order of AVP. 8 Enforcer, 8 Sorcerer, 8 Visionary, and 8 Pit Fighter.
8 Pit Fighter is number 1.
Mhm.
That trait is broken. It's Sork, Visionary, Pit Fighter, and Enforcer. I think it's 8 Pit Fighter, 8 Sork, 8 Visionary, 8 Enforcer.
All right. That's very, very close. It's actually Pit Fighter and then Visionary.
Oh, okay.
And then Enforcer and Sorcerer. I think it's because Malzahar is just so nuts. So
I've actually seen 8 Sork do pretty well, but yeah, I guess. I'm surprised it does worse than Emblem. It does worse than Enforcer.
Well, Enforcer is, I mean, like an easy trait to play, right? I think for the most part, and most people when they hit Enforcer just have good high AVP because it implies you hit Caitlyn.
Yeah, I guess I feel like 8 Enforcer is just like, I'm just surprised it does well because I feel like it's like that's just the standard when you play Enforcer. Like it happens like almost every game, but maybe it doesn't.
I think the problem with 8 Sorcerer for me is that you end up just struggling a lot with the front line. I think it's really hard to get 8 Sorcerer and also like a Swain 3 and a Vlad 3 are your options. And so a lot of times you're like hoping that you get like some kind of frontline augment to help you, or maybe like a target dummy that has the Sorcerer emblem.
Yeah, maybe the time to see it was like +2 because I'm looking at it right now. It's like substantially lower. So
question number 3: what is the best performing support item in the game?
It's something like somewhat surprising.
Yeah, that's correct.
We have the items on TFTAcademy, right? Just so
we do.
I'll just look at them there. When I looked like a couple games ago, I think Locket was number 2, and something else is number 1.
That was correct. When I snapshot this, that's correct.
I think number 1 was either Big Jim or Martyr. Actually, usually it's Zephyr, but I don't think Zephyr was actually there. I think it was Big Jim or Martyr. I don't know, I'll go Big Jim, I guess, because I don't know. I literally looked at this like 3 hours ago, so I have like a very big, and like it might Martyr not even or one of them might not even be like high up there just because like they're both yellow, and that's what I kind of remember. There's something yellow up there, so I'm gonna go Martyr, but it could be like Banshees as well. I don't know. Or sorry, I'll go Big Gem, but it could be like Banshees as well.
Big Gem.
Oh wait, no, wait, it's Chalice. I remember it's Chalice. It was Chalice. Like Chalice was the best. I remember it last second.
Buzzer beater. I was gonna say Big Gem is top 3, Locket's top 3, but it was Chalice of Power.
It was Chalice. Yeah.
Chalice of Power, which is really surprising. I didn't really expect that at all. Why is Chalice actually doing so well? I think right now I just checked it again. I think it's a lot closer now. It's like basically tied there. But why is Chalice performing better this set?
Especially in like the Black Rose line. I think it's mostly just the Black Rose line. Since you get the Scion summon, you actually end up playing more backliners on average than like comps used to play in the past. So you can actually get full Chalice value.
Mhm.
I feel like that's just the main reason.
Okay.
Form swappers as well. Since you can put them in the back row, makes it a little bit easier to get more backliners as well.
Ah, I like that. And you're like always backline Chalice. I mean, I know sometimes people put it in the front in the past. You're always putting it back now.
I mean, if you're specifically taking Chalice to have a Chalice, and it's not like something you get randomly, you definitely want to be like trying to play a backline comp.
Okay. Makes sense to me. Question number 4. What emblem has the highest win rate in the game?
It should be Kim Baron, but it probably won't be just because of how it is. It might be one of the Violet ones just because how broken that was, but like a lot of the family data is like probably like people not even playing Violet just because it's such a popular trait. And then I mean Black Rose got nerfed, but like is this data like only like the first like after the first patch?
No, this is only the B patch.
Oh, it's only okay, only the B patch, got it. Or didn't you tell me Rebel's a super high winner, but did you tell me it was the highest? I don't remember.
I said specifically it was a super high win rate. But I didn't want to give away the answer.
So it's either like you mess up and it is Rebel, or it's like it's not Rebel and you're like trying to mislead me. I'm gonna actually go Pit Fighter. This is probably not a good guess, but I'm gonna go Pit Fighter because I feel like people might like be playing like Powdery Wolf Family Emblem, even though I think Family Emblem is better than Pit Fighter Emblem, and the B patch was dominated by Violet. So I'm gonna go Pit Fighter Emblem.
All right, lock it in.
I'm pretty sure I'm wrong, but yeah, let's lock it in.
It's close. I mean, okay, so it goes family number 1, Chem Baron number
really?
2, and Pit Fighter, but they're separated by like 1% each. So it's like 23 family, 22 Chem Baron, 21 Pit Fighter. So it's not a bad guess actually. Rebel is like 4th, right there, by 20%, which is really high.
I mean, I do I knew Family was like the better emblem, but
Yeah.
I thought people might just be trolling with it, and like it might mess up the
it's a
data.
hard question. That's why I think it was a good one to throw out there, but it's close.
Honestly, we'll take it.
Yeah, not bad, not bad. Also, by the way, 5th is Automata emblem. That one kind of threw me for a loop, but
yeah, okay. I this needs to be more research has to be done into this, by the way, because I don't know. I've seen like people just like play random ass 4 Automata late game, and you just have like Mal's main carry, and you put on like Heimer. I mean, that's what I've seen a guy do, but and they did like surprisingly well. But yeah, I feel like there could be more looked into it because the Automata proc does like a lot of damage. It's definitely worth playing random Blitzkrieg when you're playing Mal's carry, but outside of that, I don't know.
yeah, who would you even play? So you would put the third. You play like a Mumu. Like what's the what?
Yeah, like
Automata.
Probably like a Mumu Garen's easiest way.
Okay, got it. Interesting. I'll have to think about it next time.
Yeah, I mean, trying to play a Nocturne is a little suspicious.
And I'm not trying to go Kog'Maw just for the splash of 4, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe. All right, last question. Augment stats do exist for trait unlocks. If you look at traits, it'll tell you what the AVP is performing of these trait unlocks. So, what is the best performing trait unlock and the worst performing trait unlock? So we talked about some of them in situational. You're talking about reunion, for example, and geniuses and everything like that. What's the best and the worst? I think you probably know one of these, but I'm not sure. Do you know two?
Can you explain to me what is trait unlock like the duo carry augments?
That's
the
correct.
Duo augments?
That's right.
Okay.
You get at 4-2 or specifically 3-2 for some of them.
Got it.
I mean, I can go through them if you want.
I'll just look at the TFTAcademy augment tier list. Yeah, TFTAcademy.com/tier list/augments. Or you can just go to the site and find it like in the menus. I mean, the ones I ranked S tier are Unlikely Duo and Martial Law based on the PvE stats. I mean, I assume it's Unlikely Duo because I feel like playing around Jinx Savika is just getting 2 5+ is really good. But I could also see it being. Wait, you're telling me there's stats on this?
Yeah, if you look at every stat site and you look at if you look at traits and you see the list of traits, you see their AVP. So that's
Oh,
basically
so it, like shows up as a trait.
yeah.
Oh,
So it's basically augment stats for that.
got it. I could see it being reunion because you can just click it in Camille, and Camille's really good. But it's not really like the trait reunion, just Camille. You know what? That's but like I'd like to do is kind of good. You know, I'm gonna go reunion because of Camille.
Okay, and then what's the worst?
The worst, I think Geniuses is pretty bad, but like Hymer's good. So like maybe Hymer is so good that like it makes Geniuses good, but I don't think so. I'm gonna go Geniuses.
Wow, that is exactly correct. Geniuses is awful at a 5.4 right now.
Holy, holy, that is yeah.
And Reunion is the best at 4.3. Well done. I thought you were going to get baited by the Unlikely Duo, which is like a 4.5, and Martial Law, which is like a 4.5. So, because those are the ones that were. Let me see if it's actually still true. Oh, no. Actually, Martial Law is doing worse now because of it. But no.
Yeah, I feel like the combat power you get from Reunion is not even that high. It's just that like you get an echo when you're playing Camille, which is kind of insane.
Yeah, like it's just so hard.
Yeah.
Not bad. So I think it was at 4 out of 5. So 3 out of 5 because you thought it was Pit Fighter, but man, pretty good start. All right, let's talk about our main subject for today, which is anomalies. And I think the way we can break this down in my head is just have a general discussion about it for a few minutes and then talk about just each of the anomalies, just go through them. And there's going to be some ones that are pretty easy, but I think there's also some that may be like, who does this actually work for and when would you take it? So before we start, what's your general approach and read on anomalies? Like, how are you approaching the anomaly turn? How much gold do you feel like is good? Like things like that. What's going through your head as you're trying to use anomalies right now?
When it's a reroll comp and you like specifically care about one unit on your board maximizing its effectiveness, you want to roll like pretty deep for like something specific. We saw that the set with Violet really wanted ultimate hero for 4-star, but also stuff with like Caitlyn or Camille wanting invisibility. There's some like you don't have to go invisibility on Camille. There's some other ones. There's like revive at max HP and then drain. That one's pretty good. I have another name memorized. Berserker Rage is pretty good for Camille. There's like actually a lot that Camille can use, but since Ultimate Hero like clears on Violet, you like really wanted to hard force that one. On Cog specifically, there's some pretty good interactions with him. Like there's one that like gives your whole team AP on cast based on the mana spent, but since Cog casts so much that like you just end up farming a lot of AP, and it makes like Scar actually heal a bunch because you give him a bunch of AP. Or like 1,000 cuts and Cog is really good as well. So like when you're playing a comp like focus around one unit specifically, you kind of want to greed for something good for them. But when you're playing comps with like a lot of different carries or like a lot of different spread out for land, you can be pretty generic in what you take, I feel.
When should you settle? Like, I think people are kind of always like, okay, is this good enough, or should I roll more? Especially when they're playing around 4 costs, it always feels like, like I could take this, but I feel like it's not. And then when they lose later on, they're like, is my anomaly like not good enough? Like, how do you navigate those tougher gray areas?
God, I don't even know. I feel like it's just like a feeling thing for me, but maybe that's
A vibe check for the most part.
yeah, like mostly a vibe check. I kind of go into the anomaly like thinking like, oh, I want like a damage one, or like usually I'm thinking like I want like an AP one or an AD one or something. And then if I see one good enough for that, I'll do it. Or like I'm thinking to myself like, oh, I really want a tank one, and then I just go for one that like synergizes with the type of tank I want to be playing. So that's kind of how I think about it, I guess.
Yep. I like to think of it as an extension similar to augments. There's two ways you can approach anomalies. You can think of it as a fourth item or like a fourth augment. And a lot of times with their augments, you use it to either accelerate what you're trying to do and make it more effective. So if you're like a burst comp, you're trying to like hit really hard. Or you can make up what you're lacking. So if you're playing, like we made an allusion to like how, or we talked about how 8 Sorcerer struggles with frontline. But the game that I went turbo first with it, I had like a bunch of augments to help me give that front line so my 8 Sorcerers can burst. And anomalies can be that same way, which is like, okay, my comp won't work if I don't have a good front line here. So you can use that anomaly there in that spot. All right, so with that as kind of our like early premise here, let's go through these anomalies, shall we, one by one, and just talk about like what we think about these anomalies. We're probably going to eventually build like an anomaly tier list of some kind, just give like a little bit more of a summary for you guys to use. But for now, I think we can just kind of go it line by line here. And if we feel like they're basic, we can just say like, yeah, you can do this, but
Yep.
we also can stop if you want. So let's start off with Arcana Overwhelming. Gain ability power equal to 25% of magic resistance. Gain 50 magic resistance. What do we think about this one?
So it's good on an AP tank, or like a tank that gains a bunch of tankiness based on AP. Right now, that is like Blitzcrank. But you don't really see Blitzcrank. Like you would take this when you're like rerolling Blitzcrank because it would definitely not be strong enough to go for a 2-star Blitzcrank just with this. It would specifically be Blitzcrank in an AP lobby. I'm really struggling to think of any other time I would take this. Outside of Emblem, I think the other time you take this outside of Blitzcrank reroll in an AP lobby is if you have Sentinel Spat on Mord 2, or like if you like can guarantee a Mord 2,
Wow.
because
Okay.
it gets pretty good there. I've seen that before, but I think this one is extremely niche, unless I'm like missing something. Because the thing on Mundo is like you could maybe justify this on Mundo, but I feel like all the ones that scale off HP are better.
Yeah, I agree with that, especially because of his experiment bonus as well. I actually encountered this with Mad Chemist today in game.
Oh, Matt. Oh,
I
yeah.
had this, but I rolled for Ultimate Hero for the 4-star singed. And in the back of my mind, I wonder if this was better, largely because it's exactly what you would want. He has so much resistances from
Mhm.
the Sentinel. He gets triple, remember, from Sentinel. I think it's like 42 base, and then you can convert that. And that's kind of what he wants, anyways. So it was something that I thought about, and I wasn't entirely sure. Maybe there's something better.
Yeah, it's like hard to like say that anything's gonna be better than like 4-starring your one cost,
Yeah,
but like maybe in a full AP lobby you could take this unsinged, but Ultimate Hero might still be better.
right. Well, part of the argument that I think someone made in my chat was that you're not using like the AD or like because he doesn't attack, so you lose a
Yep.
little bit of stats there. But this is pretty efficient. Either way, pretty niche. Probably not something that you spend too much time on.
Mm.
Okay, attack expert. This champion gains 60% more attack damage from all sources. And just for reference, Deathblade is 55. So this is basically like getting a Deathblade or a little bit better than that on your champion. What do you think about this?
So does this work? I mean, it says all sources, so I feel like I might be asking a dumb question, but it doesn't work off like the base ID, I assume.
I'm assuming it just gives, it's as if you
Mm.
have like the 60 AD bonus on top of it. So it's like a multiplier at the end. So if you have 100 AD when you click this, you have like including the bonus, right? You have four. Let's say you have 70 plus 30 from your thing. I think it
Mm.
should give you 160, or you should be at 160.
Yeah, I feel like this is a very like the text on this is very good. It's just I think the text on this is very good because it doesn't fit into the set. Um, there's just not that many traits that actually give AD. Surprisingly, there is like Rebel and
Artillerist.
Artillerist. Is there
Conqueror
any?
gives
Is there?
AD
Yeah,
as well.
Conquer. Yeah,
Yeah.
Conquer, Artillerist, Rebel, but they actually don't even give that much AD. A lot of the trade budgets and other stuff. So I feel like this is a very, very good line of text, but the reason it's so good is that it just doesn't really fit into the set well. I'm like trying to think of like who I would want this on. Like definitely if you're playing vertical artillerist, I think this could be insane. Like on Tristana, because she also gains like AD herself off of her like spell when she kills something. So I could definitely see this being very good on Tristana. If you're playing like the four artillerist version, maybe like reroll Ezreal with like Rebel and Artillerist can get buy out of this as well if that becomes meta. Maybe like Rebel Jinx could use this. Maybe Mbessa, but I feel like a lot of the melee ones are better than this. So yeah,
Okay.
I
Yeah.
feel like it's a good line of text. It just like doesn't really fit in the set.
Yeah. I took it one time on Corky and didn't feel that bad, but I guess that goes back to
Mm,
your Artillerist argument.
yep.
So yeah, for the most part, I feel like it's mainly for those like pure AD lovers.
Yep.
Avalanche of armor. Get attack damage equals to 25% of armor. So this is basically the AD version of Arcana Overwhelming.
Yeah, I've actually taken this before, surprisingly.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Would you take it on?
it was a very very tragic game as I was contested Violet. It was a few days ago, and I rolled. I was
Oh
one on
no.
Violet. I rolled literally 60 gold on the round before the anomaly. I did not hit Violet 3. I did not hit it.
I see.
I hit every other unit, including Vander, on level 5, but I did not hit Violet 3.
Okay.
And there was like 6 left in the pool or 7 left in the pool. It is what it is. So I couldn't even go for ultimate hero. So since I had Vander 3, I took this and put it on Vander. Since I had like I believe I had like Titan Stoneblade BT. And
I see. How'd it go?
I actually went 6th because of it instead of 8th. So that's
Okay.
like honestly pretty good. I don't know if it's the best thing on Vander in the world, but it was pretty good on Vander.
All right. All right. I've never taken this. I haven't seen anyone take this, so that's a new one to me. Okay.
Yeah. I imagine it's like also pretty good on the Aurelia hero augment, but it's probably worse than Ultimate Hero as well, so probably not even worth thinking about there.
Yeah, that's actually interesting trying to combine it with all those other hero augments. Maybe if you're doing the gloves off Vander variation. I'm not entirely sure. Hard to
Yeah.
say. Okay, Avarice Incarnate. Get 5 gold, get 15% damage amp, and 1% more per 2 gold you have up to 40%. This one, every time I read it, I'm always like, I don't know if that's good. Or rather, I don't know if I can even get to that point of like saving gold and whatnot. Have you taken this?
No. Uh yeah. I've like been pitched this as like something you can take on like a really, really broken line that you can actually sit above gold and like be strong with. Um Specifically Violet, but like this was pitched to me really early, but the thing is you just go for Ultimate Hero anyways, which is better. So like I don't know, maybe if you're like high rolling your Camille spot insanely hard and you're like win streaking, hit like a really early Camille 3, you can save a bunch of money. I can see this because at max value it's 55% damage amp, and specifically on like Camille, it's like not that big of a deal if you're not pushing levels, especially if you have Ambusher spot already. So I could see it on like Camille maybe. Other comps, I feel like you just need your gold. I feel uh like sitting this high of interest super late in the game is just like so scary because you probably don't have everything upgraded. I feel like
So,
this one's just like kind of unpickable outside of like high roll reroll spots.
am I understanding this correctly? Where it says your max value is at 2 gold up to 40%. So you have to sit at 50 gold in order to get max value.
Uh
You get 15 base and you can get 25 more, which means you have to sit at 50 gold to get max value off of this.
oh no. You have to sit at 80 gold to get max value out of this.
Oh, so it's even higher. Oh,
Yeah.
you can get 40% bonus on top. I thought it was
Yeah.
25 was the extra cap. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness gracious.
You can get up to 55% if you sit at 80 gold, I believe that's how it works.
Holy cow. That's well, I guess that's like a fun way to play a snowball strategy, I suppose, if you're
I mean, it
super
gives
far ahead.
if it gives 5 gold base. I feel like this one is like you can only take it when your spot is so high roll, it probably doesn't matter.
Yeah, okay.
So I feel like it's just kind of irrelevant.
Berserker Rage, you mentioned this is good for Camille. It's good for like the hybrid carries, especially
Yeah,
specifically melee, right? That likes it a lot.
yeah, it's good on Camille because like when she kicks, she's usually below 50% anyways. And then especially with Hodge, the way Hodge works, it gives more Omnivamp below 50%. So like your kick gets the bonus like 60 AD, and then it goes like back to full, and then it goes down and goes back up. It's also pretty good on Smeech 3 if you like can anomaly your Smeech. It's very good on Smeech.
Good on those melee carries. I wonder if it's good on Akali at all as well, because Akali is kind of similar to that. I'm not sure if you played a lot of Akali at all.
I've never played her in my life, like with items.
Okay, okay. It's Vietnam and China Tech. They love Akali, so keep an eye out for it if you get a chance. Okay, Bully gain 18% damage amp doubled against units with a lower star level. What do you think about this?
I mean, you click this when you have a 3-star. What I will say though is that like you have to be pretty careful when taking this. I think it was like pretty like mediocre last meta because a bunch of people had 3-stars. Uh, but if you play like a like say in this example you have a 3-star backline, like a 3-star Cog or like a 3-star Tristana or something. If your opponent's playing like Violet or Camille roll, you're gonna get like only 18% of this, which I guess is like fine. But I feel like I go for this if I see people not playing other 3-star frontliners and I have a 3-star. But it's
Yep.
pretty good. Like 36% is pretty good for a anomaly, I think.
Yeah, maybe if you have worth the wait and you get the 4-star. Probably not. Yeah, I think that those
Yeah.
are really rare scenarios, but yeah, it sounds like it's a pretty okay. I've seen people do okay with it before. Specifically, I saw someone do well with like hero augments with it. So maybe that's how they get its value, get some value out of that. Bulwark, gain 40 armor and magic resistance, triple when above 50 HP.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like this is just a good generic tank one you can take on like Garen or Alawi or I mean I wouldn't say good. I feel like it's like bottom half, but like sometimes you don't have the money and you like to tank Anomaly, and I feel like this one's not that bad. So you
Okay.
just take it.
Yeah, I like it when you can combo with something that's most likely to keep you above that, like a anima visage type of like artifact situation. But I agree. I think this is probably like a B minus C plus anomaly here. Okay, calling card. Gain an emblem that matches a non-unique trait from this champion. I think this one's chat's favorite. They love going for some of this. So calling card, you can actually guarantee certain augments or certain emblems rather for emissaries. So for example, if you need a sorcerer, you can put it on a Nami and get it to guarantee because there's no emissary emblem. But how often have you clicked on this?
I think I might have clicked on this once. I think I was playing like I think I had like this was Black Rose patch and I was playing Vertical Dom and I already had a Dom emblem. So I like took this to 50-50 a Black Rose or a Dominator emblem, which was pretty good. Um I think this is where you want to take it is like if you can 50-50 a good emblem, or if like if you get +2 and it gets you to like the prismatic trait, you just like take the 50-50 because that might be a 50-50 to like win the game. And that's like a very, very good coin flip, even if you get the bad trait. So I've seen this like I mean you can 50-50 9 scrap pretty often if you have scrap emblem and you can go 9. And I feel like that one's like I mean you might as well. Like it's like 50-50 to like maybe win the game. So
Yep, exactly. I think calling card is a pretty good desperation play in some situations, especially because you might be on those scuttle puddles, those gold subscriptions where you can push levels shortly afterwards. So might be worth considering. Okay, this one is kind of weird. Center of the universe. Gain 6 stars that orbit this champion. Each star deals magic damage and expands to hit the champion's current target. I don't really get this one, to be honest. Like I've seen it, one person take it, and I couldn't tell what it was doing.
I don't know who's supposed to take this because it doesn't scale up anything. So
It's just 70 flat, right?
yeah, I mean, what like how are you ever like what is ever the spot to take this when you have no money and you just have to take some trash? Like I don't. I feel like this is actually just like I get maybe it scales off lifesteal. Like if you have a bunch of lifesteal, this could be like a light. I don't know.
Have you ever
This
seen it?
well no, but like who like I've never seen it because who would ever pick this?
Right,
It's
right,
just
right.
all the other anomalies scale off your unit actually doing stuff, and
Like
this one
how
scales off
how
nothing.
how far are we talking about expanding? Is it like if I put it on my backline unit with Zonia's, it's gonna hit the enemy backline, or is it gonna be like I have to be in like melee range? Like that. This wording is so ambiguous, and I'm just scared to take it. So I've
Well,
never taken it.
yeah, I feel like this just gets it needs to get removed or reworked to like
Okay, so
this
avoid for now.
the scale off something because like
Uh,
there's no even like there's no draw to it. Like I wouldn't even know where to take this.
yeah.
So
Comeback story. Gain 5% damage for each 10-player health you've lost this game. So this caps out at theoretically 9 times 5, so 45 damage amp.
this is pretty good. I think I like just take this if I'm like 40 or under and I need a damage one. I think it's just a good damage one.
Okay.
It's kind of call it a day. It's good,
Generic.
but obviously you don't take it when you're witch streaking.
Cosmic Rhythm. No longer gain mana, but instead cast their ability every 4 seconds. If you're watching in the future, like maybe patches down the road, apparently this is broken on Victor, the new 6 cost. But this was actually a problematic one with Gangplank because Gangplank would cleanse the debuff and therefore it would trigger him to like infinitely keep repeat casting. So that was actually an exploit.
Yeah, kind of funny. Like I mean, it's just funny that like it was something that could be cleansed. I guess.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, I maybe I'm not creative enough, but I've not seen this have any success. I remember Mortog saying you could put this on Maddie, but like,
Yeah,
uh,
that's right.
I don't know,
Maddie
man.
4, I've been seeing a lot of people suggest that.
I don't know, man. That feels like a. I mean, I don't want to be offensive, but it doesn't seem very good.
Yeah, we can just leave it at that.
I feel like they designed this one for Victor only, and they just Victor's not on the set yet, so
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Call the weak. Gain up to 100% critical strike chance based on the target's missing HP. Every 3 seconds, target the lowest percent health enemy in range.
This one is weird. I don't even know how it works because and like I low key I haven't really investigated this, but I low key think there might be like some crazy bug with this because I took this on Camille because I didn't have much money to roll for her, and like the first fight I played it, I kid you not, this Camille did 40k,
Oh.
which was disgusting. It was like critting for like 6k on a unit, but then
Oh, wow.
but then every other fight after it did not. It like never even went above 20k. So it might be bugged the turn you take it or something. But
That's crazy.
I mean I don't know. Like it was just like the numbers were so crazy for one round, and then afterwards didn't do it. This one is low key pretty good on Tristana if you have IE, because like you want her to like actually kill targets with her ult, and it like redirects the ult target. So
Okay, I like that.
she'll very like every 3 seconds she'll ult the lowest target in range a lot of the
I
time.
like it.
And if you have IE, you get value out of the crit. I mean, I wouldn't say it's broken on her, but it's just something I probably wouldn't skip if I had Tristana 3.
Deep Roots gain 700 HP, 25 armor, and 25 magic resistance. They can't move or be stunned, and pull their target into range. This one's a fun one.
Yeah, it's like fun, but it's also just like good stats. Like you just, it's just a good one because it gives you a lot of defensiveness. I feel like this one you probably just if you feel like you need a tank anomaly, like if you have like good Garen or if you have like a good Lowry or Mundo, you just take this one. It's good enough.
Mm-hmm. It's nice with Mundo in particular because he's pretty stationary, and
Mhm.
so because he has to stay on a specific hex, and so I've seen this mess with melee carries pretty badly because when the melee carry gets pulled away from like your like because you always know the inevitable thing: you play Mundo, you play Twitch, they're getting back to the back line, but maybe Mundo can turn around and like pull them towards him, so it pulls away from your back line. So
I've seen people on ladder click this with Camille because
oh wow, and then
like
backline it or what?
no, you just like put it on the front because you still want to take damage and heal up, but you basically just do it because you like hooks it in like 1v1s whoever she hooks it in. But I've seen something else hilarious, which is actually intended, is that like I saw a clip of someone taking this and then the opponent also had deep roots, so his Camille was just AFK because it couldn't be stunned.
Oh,
Like its
okay.
target was the other deep roots unit, and it had it
That's so
outside of
weird.
melee range, so it was just stunned the whole fight, and it was hilarious.
I see, I
But
see. Did
I don't
they
actually know if
tie?
it's what.
Did
Sorry.
they tie?
Oh no, the other person had like a real board. They just had deep roots on their tank. The Camille player just the Camille just like was stationary and couldn't move and couldn't pull in
Oh,
anything
I see, I
because
see, I
its
see, I see,
target
I
was
see.
couldn't be CC'd.
I
It was
see,
just
that's funny. I thought it was
yeah,
just a 1v1 there, got
it
it.
was just AFK the whole fight.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't actually know if it's good on Camille, but I've seen like it being clicked on Camille more than once, but I can't tell you if it's good or not because I don't think they did very well. But I feel like it's a good tank one. Just call it a day.
All right. Defense expert. This champion gets 45% more armor and MR from all sources. Basic.
Yeah, if you want to buff a 6 Sentinel Alawi or you want to buff a double Stone Plate, you might take this.
Yep. You get more value off of it if you're playing things like a movable object and other things like that. So just keep that in mind if you ever get a spot to take it. Diving in on first cast, leap to enemies and stun in a 2 hex radius for 1.5 seconds and gain 25% attack speed and 20% omnivamp.
I've never seen this.
You never seen it in action?
Oh, I mean, I've certainly rolled past this, I think, but I don't think I've seen this in action. Yeah, I don't think I've seen it. Or
Got
I
it.
mean, at least I haven't noticed when someone's taken it. But I mean, someone's probably taken this before in my games. I feel like this is something you want to put on a melee unit, but then I feel like stunning their frontline is it's like good in melee mirrors, I guess, but not good otherwise. And like when I'm thinking about, yeah, I don't know. Like maybe you put on like Nocturne and you stun the enemy Camille, you burst it down. But I don't even think Nocturne's a burst comp, so or maybe put it on Kali. I don't know.
Yeah, so I've only seen this one time, and that was when someone put it on a Vi with Horizon Focus, and she
Oh,
dove in and she mixed some stuff up, but it was a Vi one, and that person bought forward. But I saw the vision. I saw the vision, so I was like, oh, I see what you're trying to do here. So maybe something to think about if you open that artifact. I've never got a chance to try it since, but I've been looking for it. Okay, Dragon Soul. The champion's first attack against the new target fires a Dragon Soul blast, dealing 20 max health true damage. A lot of people love this one. It's very flashy.
Yeah, I feel like it's, I don't know. I take it on Twitch. It's not. It's like it's good on Twitch. It's not like broken though, because I mean it'll literally only proc 9 times, and if your opponent his health is like not based on max HP, like if they're playing like Omnivamp units as their front line, which I guess doesn't really apply, but like especially if they're playing like Scrap, it's pretty bad into Scrap. Um, outside of Twitch, it's like good on units that like want to focus stuff down. So like Tristana is pretty good on this because you like just hit the front line pretty fast and then you can kill it, swap target. Outside of that, I don't really take this. And I don't really play Trist, so I just okay.
Let me pitch you Dish Soap. What happens if you have fish bones and you have Dragon Soul? Is it it feels, I've been seeing people suggest it. And if you play like Fishbones Twitch or like Fishbones whatever, like is Dragon Soul, is that an actual thing or is that a meme? I don't know.
I believe it's worse than you think because it doesn't proc multiple times. It's like first attack against a new target means that this can only proc like for however many units your enemy has.
Okay, so it doesn't change
every.
Okay, got it.
It doesn't. You don't get. Fishbones doesn't give every auto, unfortunately. Or like maybe I'm wrong, but like I don't think it is. It's a very very niche scenario to come up. So
I'm down for someone to try that though. Maybe if they get a chance. All right. Dramatic entrance. This is one you talked about. Leap off the battlefield after 60 seconds, arrive with 70% increased max HP and stun all enemies from 1 by. You're talking about this for the Mundo.
Yeah, I took this with Bruiser Mundo, and it had like 7,000, it had like 8,000 HP. Because it was 6 Bruiser plus this effect, and I didn't even have any. Like it was Bruiser Spat Steadfast. Bramble. Like it wasn't even like HP items. It was just AK HP resistance items. So it was and since like the rest of my team was 6 bruiser, like they could actually hold the line for like the 6 seconds it took. So it was very very good when I took it there. I imagine it's kind of the same if you have like a good enough like Garen board where like the rest of your front line can hold for 6 seconds, it can be good there. The way this works is it does land where you put your unit at the start. So it's not gonna like land in some like trash spot in the backline and like abandon your team. It will land like where you put it. So that's pretty good.
I do want to say something. Like it lands at what time does it land in? It lands in at like 9 seconds.
Yeah, because it has an animation.
Right.
It doesn't land immediately. It like starts like jumping up at 6 seconds.
Yeah, you do have to keep that in mind. I mistime it, and I wasn't playing the bruiser setup with it, so I remember I was really disappointed one time because a lot of my team was dead when it came back.
Yeah, if you don't have good secondary frontline, this is like terrible.
Yeah,
it's like you might just be down a like being worse than down an anomaly. Might actually be a negative effect, but it's very very strong if you have a. If it's specifically 6 Mundo Bruiser, I think like playing that game, I think it might be the best one in that comp, like best anomaly period.
Okay, I'll look out for it next time. Okay, we only got a few more here before we wrap it up. Dual wielding, get 2 complete items that fit this champion's role. I have only taken this when I'm playing Artifactory, and you get 2 free artifacts. And I'm in a spot where I feel like I need more items. Sometimes when you're playing Artifactory, you don't need anything more, so you can just take like a combat one. But that's the only time I've taken it this set. What about you?
I feel like this is pretty good. I take this very often in Scrap to get the second, like because like often you have like one carry setup and you're just waiting for like it's like kind of hard to get full 80 items on both GP and Corki. So this one I take it very often in Scrap to do that.
Okay, that makes sense.
I feel like it's just good because like anomalies are around like a gold augment power level. So if you could actually use the items on your team, I feel like this is very very takeable. Especially if you're playing like not like a solo carry comp and your frontline's already okay. I feel like this is very good. But if you already have 3 item tank, 3 item carry, and you don't really need to be getting a dual carry setup right now, it's gonna be better to just buff one of those more.
Yes, keep in mind that I believe the champion's role is on the right side of the screen. So make sure you click the right one, or at least what you expect it to be, because sometimes the champion's role isn't exactly what you think it is.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're listed as a tank when they're a carry, and vice versa. Okay, Eagle Eye. Get +1 range. Every 2 seconds, this champion doesn't move. Get 6% attack damage.
Okay, does this one exist? I don't even know if I've like rolled past this before.
It does exist.
Okay, okay,
I
okay.
one time had RFC Fishbone's Mordekaiser, and everyone wanted me to take this.
Did you take it?
No, because I said, "What
Yeah,
do I do with the
because AD.
AD?
Yeah,
What do I do
yeah.
with the AD?" But everyone's like, "No, but you get +1 range. It's so sick." Yeah.
So I mean, we established that RC Nocturne is good. The problem with that is that it would only be 2 range. It would actually end up moving a lot, so it's probably not very good there. Uh, I mean, you want to put it on like a backline 80, so it actually doesn't move. I mean, you get 280 every. I mean, I don't know. Twitch
I
never
guess
moves, but
Twitch.
like Twitch never moves. But is 6% every 2 seconds even good? I feel like it's not. So, and I'd rather just
Yeah.
take a tank when I'm playing Twitch, like almost always.
Whenever I think about +1 range, I always think that it benefits melee way more than it benefits range, and I just don't see a melee unit that wants to. And also, a lot of melee carries don't stay stationary; they actually kind of move around all the time. So
Well, yeah, if it's like a two range unit, will just move basically every single time it gets a kill, no matter what.
yeah,
So yeah, yeah, I don't know. I guess like I guess this would maybe it's not as bad as melee as I thought because it's not like you have to stay at the same hex the whole round. Like you just have to if your unit doesn't kill anything for 2 seconds, it doesn't move. I don't know. 2 seconds is a long time. I feel like if you actually have a good carry that you want to put this on, it'll probably kill something in less than 2 seconds very often. So
yeah, yeah.
this seems like too niche to take. I don't really think there's a user.
Yeah, I can't think of anything right now.
I mean, this would be
Very
pretty good
bad.
on Draven, but the problem is like I mean, you would just ultimate hero it if that was a thing. So
I
yeah,
wanted to
a
think
lot of these
about
just get cleared by ultimate
Trundle.
hero.
I want to think about Trundle's hero augment trolling.
Well, then you just take ultimate hero, buddy. Like
Oh yeah, fair enough. Yeah,
yeah
exactly.
why are you not just taking your the free 4-star? This anomaly is definitely not problematic or anything. At Riot Games, if you're watching this.
All right. Last one for today. This is number 20. Energy absorption. Gain 30 ability power. Each time an ally dies, gain 5% of their AP.
I take this when I have like Scion. I don't know if it's actually good because I thought about it. You only get 5 AP on death, which is like, I mean, it's like it's okay because if like 5 your front line, if you're just playing a bunch of trash on your board, if like 5 of them die, you get like 55 AP on like your Heimer or something. I feel like I've taken this as like good enough that you stop rolling on a lot of AP carries, but I don't
Yep.
actually know if it's good. You know.
Yeah, and there's one thing that people keep trying to tell me about, which is there's an augment called Paint the Town Blue, and
Yeah.
every
I would
time your
take it.
rebels die, they summon another one.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
die, and
yeah.
everyone says that this counts for that.
Oh, it does. It does.
Okay,
It
so
does. I've done that before actually, and it was very broken. It was very broken.
okay. So I've never gotten the spot for it, but I would love to try it. If that's the case, then yeah, Vertical Rebels, you just tuck that Zoe in the back and just watch her shoot her bouncing shot, and she'll one shot everything, I guess.
I don't actually. I don't know if this one's better than. There's also on death gain mana, and that also works. With Paint the Town. So I don't know which one's more broken. The one that like makes it permacast, or the one that makes you give a bunch of AP.
Okay. All
But
right. All
both
right.
are insane with Paint the Town.
Okay, well, just like that, we are pretty much at the end. We only gonna have time to do one question here because we've been going pretty long. So let's start off this with two Boffy, who says, "I'm going to compete in the Macau Open in December, and I'm looking for some help. I understand that it might be really specific, but I want to ask, how should I approach tournaments or generally competing in TFT at an open like this?"
I mean, I feel like you just go there and like play how you're comfortable. I guess I feel like you shouldn't think about it differently. Because I feel like if like you've never played a tournament, because I mean everyone has to start somewhere. You like might think that it's going to be very different than like ladder or something, And then I feel like if you like change your mindset about that, like you'll just play worse. So I mean, this is not very easy advice, just because like you will just subconsciously like maybe might feel the pressure or something, but um like to the best of your ability, like play how you feel the most comfortable in, and that's going to be how you do the best.
That's a good one. I think my advice is much more around the game. Make sure that you bring like water. Make sure that you bring snacks that you feel comfortable eating, because sometimes food menu is like not only really long, but also like stuff that you don't like, especially if you're in a foreign country. Make sure you do your best to adjust your sleep schedule, because you're going to feel really tired, and if it's going to be delays and whatnot, it's going to be difficult. Be ready for technical problems. Like, you're not going to be playing on your own setup. It might actually be pretty good to like try playing off your regular setup, because I think there's a lot of TFT players who underestimate the comfort of like just being able to like use their mouse and keyboard, and maybe they don't have that setup because they have predetermined setups there for you. If you haven't, um, this is also going to be, as a warning, Macau, you're going to be distracted. There's going to be loud noises behind you. There's going to be people around you. You can hear talking about the game. You might even hear fans backseating you. If you're, literally happened to some of the players. It happened to you at Vegas.
Yeah, it happened to me.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
I don't know if that's going to happen to you, Buffy, but if you're practicing being distracted, it might help, because some people literally couldn't play. They're just like, I just can't think and focus. I was just doing whatever.
Man, I might be screwed. I'm like pretty bad at that kind of stuff. Like not being like like playing like around extra noise.
Yeah, yeah.
We'll
I'm
see.
the
We'll
same way.
see.
I don't like playing with music on. I don't like, playing with other stream on. It's just too distracting. So
It's like I'm on like a 5 second delay playing.
yeah. All right. Well, either way, that's some of my general tips for the tournament. As for the actual event itself, just have fun. Like they're releasing 3 new 6 costs. It's going to be probably hard to balance. It's kind of getting broken. You might have like a crazy high roll game. You might also have a crazy low roll game. Just enjoy it, because that's what the whole point for it. It's more about
Yeah,
celebrating TFT than winning a tournament.
yeah. I'm going there. I'm probably not even gonna prep, honestly. Like maybe I'll play like a day of PB, maybe,
Yeah.
and then I'll just show up. If I go eighth, well, we just go gambling. I
Yeah.
guess I don't
Sounds
know.
good. Sounds good. All right. This ends our pretty mega episode to start off the set here. So it's been really fun. Dish Soap. What's coming up for you? You said you're actually going to be taking some time to do some personal stuff.
Yeah, I have to. I mean, I'm going on a trip to see extended family for Thanksgiving, like on Wednesday morning, and then I'll be gone until come back on. I think either Saturday or Sunday. I forget. I probably won't be able to play that much there. So yeah, this box boot camp might be cooked. And then I only have like a few days, or like a little bit more than a week until Macau comes up. And then yeah, then it's Macau. Then after Macau, I'm going to Japan for like the rest of the month. So
Okay.
a lot of time away from TFT, and like I'm kind of excited, honestly.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
this
You've been going
set's
hard.
fun. This set's fun, but I'm kind of down, like low key down for a break as well. So
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, making world championships and then PVs, like, there's just no downtime. So enjoy that break. I mean, we'll do another episode. I think we can. Maybe
yep.
you could try to do one at Macau. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, I'm
Like,
down for out Macau. I'm down for like right before we go as well.
yeah, we should get some more in, but it's been fun. Make sure you guys, if you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe, follow the channel. If you're listening on audio only, make sure you also leave us a comment and a rating. 5 stars if you can. It does go a long way.
Five
That does it.
stars.
What's up?
I just said 5 stars.
5 stars, baby. 5 stars.
Yeah.
All right. That does it for this episode of TFT Study Hall. Thanks for watching. From Frodan and Dishsoap, we'll see you next time for more TFT action.
Bye.